Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Ronnie Alexandria. Thank you for tuning in. This is going to be part 2 of last week's video about balancing our masculine and feminine energies. So today we switched it up a little bit, coming to you live from the Acura. I'm in my car just for a change of scenery, and it's a nice day and I was out. So I don't have any earrings on. It's okay though. It's okay. There was something that I said in the last video that really made me want to do a part 2 to this, and I think that it's really needed, about the feminine energy being the darkness and the masculine energy being the light. I also wanted to do a part 2 just to show, or just to talk about the way that the masculine and feminine energy plays out in other parts of our reality, not just within our bodies and not just within gender roles and identities. It's a part of our world, it's a part of our society, and a part of our ecosystem. So I just wanted to dig a little deeper into that. In the world we live in, mostly we are taught that the darkness is bad, that it's evil, that we should be scared of it, that we should not be looking into that. Of course, when you're a child, you may be scared of the dark and you may need a nightlight like I did. And now that I am realizing that I am the light and I'm no longer scared of the darkness, it's caused me to be a little bit more curious and to do more research. Like, where did that idea come from? Where did the idea of darkness being bad and evil come from? So like I was saying before, the masculine energy is the light and the feminine energy is the darkness. Having balance of both masculine and feminine darkness and light, you also need to understand darkness and understand the light. So if you have a fear of darkness, then 9 times out of 10, you're going to have an imbalance of your feminine energy, right? Because you're not even quite sure what the darkness is. So it's really, really helped me to kind of like dig more into like, what is this darkness? You know what I mean? Why is it a bad thing if I'm looking to balance my feminine and masculine energy, but then my feminine energy is darkness, but I've been taught to be scared of my darkness? Like, what's up with that? In spirituality and in the cosmos, the blackness, the darkness, that represents our womb, ladies. That represents the night sky. Like, what is evil? What is wrong? What is bad about our womb? It is the center of all life. Like, how dare you, you know what I mean, refer to my wombness, my womanhood as evil and as something to fear. If you are familiar with pre-dynastic history, which would be history before basically the Bible, before Genesis, we were taught that in the beginning there was, you know, the word or the light or God. Like, there is so much, like millions of years of history before that, history that has been erased or hidden from us. Pre-dynastic, if you go back and look at history prior to like Egypt and Greece and things like that, you'll see that they were ruled in balance. That history, those villages or those people had balance because they lived off the land, and the people that were at the center of those villages were the grandmas and the mothers and the women, and they had the knowledge of the cosmic mother. They had the knowledge of the darkness. They had the knowledge of knowing that the darkness was the center of life, and that is where everything emanates from, right? Even the light emanates from the darkness, right? That's why you have the darkness as being the mother and the light as being the son, because the light had to come through the darkness to become birthed, right? So again, back in prehistory, some people like to say her story and not history, because we're in history right now, where we're being ruled now by the patriarchy, by men. And before the patriarchy, there was the matriarchs that were running things, the women that were connected with the laws of the universe and the laws of nature, and they were the teachers of the laws of the universe and the laws of nature. They knew about the plants and the flowers and the seeds and the cosmos, and those were the things that they were teaching, and those were the things that men went out and built on. And with dealing with the womb, we know we also have the waters of the womb. We all know that the waters represent the womb and the mother as well. That's the flow. And it's also a flow of energy. Again, everything emanates from the womb. That is like the power source. It is the flow. Even if you're looking at something that is like made of, what am I trying to say? Just like some type of like electric structure, or if you like open up any type of device, any type of computerized device, there's a motherboard, right? And that is the main source of energy. All other circuits or all other things, all of that energy goes out in a circuit from the motherboard. So this is literally everywhere. Our world would not be able to exist without that source, without that black box, without that womb, without that source of energy. But somehow within our reality, within our society, that part is missing. We don't have the source, right? So in the last video, when we're talking about balancing your masculine and feminine energies within yourself, now we're thinking outside of ourselves and saying, okay, well, why is there an imbalance in the world? Where is the masculine and feminine balance in our world? Where is the masculine and feminine balance within our society? Like the whole system of the beehive and the queen bee, like, this is way before Beyonce, you know what I mean? Like the queen bee is the center of everything. And when she moves, they move. Like it's a vibration. It's like she feels and she's connected to the source and she's able to, you know what I mean? Have that branch out, to her hive, to her children, to, you know what I mean, her society. If you go back and look at the way they built the villages back then, it's kind of built in the same way. It's like a branch out where you have like the main hut is where like the grandma was at, the grandma and the grandpa, right? And then you have, you know, their children around that hut, and then, you know, that person has children and now they're the grandma and that branches out and that branches out. So it's like this whole branch. It just literally just branches out, and it's kind of like the honeycomb, like the beehive with her in the middle. Then you have each little, you know what I mean? What is that? An octagon or a hectagon that branches out. There is so much. And now in our day and age, and even in history, we like to refer to each other as brothers and sisters or gods and goddesses. But something new that I've been learning too is like all of these things are just an aspect of God. All of these gods and goddesses are just aspects. God is not a man or a woman. It's just everything. It's a perfect balance of all things, right? So as the woman being basically the closest thing, as her being called a goddess, she has God essence. She has the essence of God. She is not God herself, although she is the giver of life. So I can see how some people would want to say that we are, and I could totally agree on that on some days, but it's a God essence, right? God, you are a part of that lineage. You have some of that power. That's like, if you do look at God as a masculine form, and that's your father, you know what I'm saying? You have some of his qualities. You have some of those same abilities that he has. You have the same ability to give life, and you have the same ability to create like he does. That is the God essence. And that's what the goddess is. The oldest spirituality to date is the worship of the womb. Again, going back to pre-dynastic times, those people, our ancestors, worshipped the womb, not the woman as a whole, the womb, the darkness, the cosmic portal where all life enters and exits. That is so powerful to me. And again, that's why people look at woman as God, especially the black woman, because the darkness, okay, you have melanin, which also has a lot to do with that same cosmic darkness. It's not necessarily about being black and white. There's plants and trees and flowers and animals that have melanin too. So that is the cosmic source. When we moved into dynastic times and we became a patriarchy ruled by men who literally tried to erase the woman and to basically tear down her matriarch and tear down her queendom, which it wasn't even necessarily a queendom. Everything was just in balance because we were living off the land. We were living using the laws of nature and the laws of the universe. But once the patriarchy started and all of that got erased, it kind of became illegal, right, to basically be a woman and to have that power and to be connected with your source. So a sorcerer, someone who is connected with the source and became, you know what I mean, this evil thing who is misunderstood or is a witch or is a magician because you know what herbs and plants to do to mix this and to do that. Like, that's just a woman. That's just a goddess. That's just your God essence. That is who you were put on this earth to be, to know your connection to the earth and the plants, and to know what plants to eat, and to know what plants to use to heal. Those are helpful things. Yes, there are some people that use those things for evil or for personal gain, and that's something totally different. But the fear of the darkness, that is where that comes from, of the woman knowing herself and knowing the land and knowing how to use it. We were the teachers. We know the plants. We know the seeds. We know the herbs for health, for vitality, for longevity, for life. The givers of life, the sustainers of life. And how is that now considered a bad thing? Oh, you're a witch. Also where the B word comes from, the B-I-T-C-H, the W-I-T-C-H. Same thing. It's a bad thing. Like I was saying in a previous video, like people died for that. And that is why, because we were living in a patriarchal society that wanted to basically mute and cancel out, you know what I mean, the female power of being connected to the source. And so now I feel like that's what I see happening in our society today, is because we have lost our connection to the source, and we are ruled with a government that is full of men, which is changing. You know what I mean? We're in a different age now. We're in a different time. And that female power is coming back, and people are starting to remember who they are and remember to get back in touch with nature. As above, so below, as within, so without. And bringing it full circle to our ecosystem being out of balance with its masculine and feminine energies. We now have GMO foods. We are not eating from the land. There may be soil that's contaminated where we cannot eat from the land. So we don't have the natural foods that we were usually getting before we started modifying things and genetically modifying things, like out here eating fruits and vegetables that don't have seeds, that were made in a laboratory. Like, that's not real. And something else that I noticed too is, like, we're doing the same thing with our babies. We're having artificial insemination. Like, we're not using the womb anymore. We're neglecting our wombs. We're not taking care of our womb, which is the same thing as not taking care of the earth. And then you have a woman that's raging and her hormones are out of balance. And now our earth is out of balance and we can't even plant seeds in our soil anymore. Our earth can't have babies anymore because her womb is not healthy. We don't take care of her. We disrespect her. And then those of us that are eating from the land, it's literally like going into your mom's house and going in the refrigerator. You eat up all her food. You're just taking advantage of her. You talk to her any type of way. You disrespect her. And this is the woman, the thing, the place that has given you life and that has sustained you all of your life. But we litter. We're just very, very rude, and we pollute, and we're paying for it now. And everybody wants to imitate the woman. Like, even in history, you have the men that were imitating women, and the judges putting on robes and wigs, and the first, you know what I mean, female shamans. And then most of the shamans turn into men. Like, everyone wants to imitate the woman, but nobody really has that same power. And it really is time for ladies, for us to take back our power. I pledge allegiance to all my ladies out there to definitely continue to do the things that I'm doing with posting these videos, and to have conversations with you guys, and having sacred sister circles. If you were part of the first one and the second one that's coming up, thank you. It's going to take all of us to do this. I just feel very, very, very strongly, and I can see all the correlations, like I said, within our bodies, within the cosmos, within our Earth's ecosystem, within our society. Like, that's what is missing to bring our planet, to bring our society back into balance. That female energy, that connection to source, that exploration of the darkness, that getting back into the laws of nature and knowing what to eat, and knowing how to take care of the land, knowing how to take care of Mother Earth, knowing how to take care of our wombs. It is all the same thing. It just has to be. It just is. And without any of that, we will continue to live in imbalance within our world, within our society, and within our bodies, and within our minds. I would just encourage everybody to research pre-dynastic history. We literally only have like 7,000 years of history. There's like 4 or 5 million years of history that is missing, which is pre-dynastic. I also would encourage everyone to watch the Disney movie. I think it's Disney, to watch Moana. That is one of my favorite movies. That is a movie that definitely like kind of depicts like what I'm talking about Mother Earth and the things that we're going through, and her not getting basically the nutrients and the love that she needs from us, and her being angry, and her needing to restore her heart chakra, and just to restore the laws of the land, basically, for us to continue to thrive. Like in that movie, you'll see that the fish were dying, and I think the people might have been going at war. Again, I would just really, really advise people, not even advise, but encourage, because you don't have to do it if you don't want to. Not everybody is a maniac researcher like I am. I just am obsessed with the truth. And, you know, I'll do the research for you if you don't want to do it for yourself. But that's pretty much it. But I kind of just wanted to touch more into why I don't believe in the darkness of witchcraft and anymore. Because I definitely did used to be scared of that. I was raised to be scared of that. I was raised in the church. I was raised Christian. Like my dad was a deacon. Like it goes that deep. Everything that is missing from life, everything that was missing from my life, and everything that I feel like is missing from our society is the return to the darkness. Back to black. I'm going back to black. And you should too.